The National Hockey League had 23 million fans this year. They set another attendance record in the
Okay.
NHL this year. Now, granted, that attendance record is a little bit inflated because you have the Stadium Series, and that will always bring you more bodies, and because it's a novelty, even though to me that novelty's kind of worn off a little bit. But just the fact that they continue to grow, yet the ratings don't grow as well. People still belittle the National Hockey League. There's still those who claim that it's not a great sport to watch. Look, stop this right now. The players in the National Hockey League are the best conditioned, best athletes in any of the four major team sports in America. Period. End of story. Stop right there. Because if you look at what they do on the ice, if you look at the constant flow of the game, if you look at the fact that they're in, they're out, they're changing, they're moving, the fact that you've got players moving in and out on a regular basis in every single period is in and of itself a great athletic moment. So to me, I'll take a National Hockey League player and the National Hockey League action over football, baseball, basketball every single day of the week, because to me, those guys are just kind of, they're getting it done, but nothing at the level of the National Hockey League, which then leaves that question, why then does the National Hockey League not catch on faster and better
I'll
and get more ratings?
I'll try to answer that in a moment. Two things when it comes to the NHL. Number one, I remember this growing up. Number one was my dad ran into Mike Lynch, who used to run he used up here at Channel 5 in Boston for so many years as the news anchor. My dad's office was he ran the locks right next to the garden. And my dad and Mike, this is back in the 80s, they were talking about hockey players, and my dad asked Mike, why are they so nice? And he said, because they're the lowest paid. They're the lowest paid players, and it's one of the reasons they're so nice. Okay. And it's fact on both ends. And they usually are the nicest of the players.
Yes,
and
without question.
more approachable.
Yes.
And then when I got started doing radio up here in Boston at 1510 The Zone, see, I like talking Bruins. And one of the producers, young producer, but he had been there before me, he says, I love talking Bruins too, but here's the thing. The phone lines are going to light up. Do not think we're loaded, because you're going to lose all the Red Sox, Patriots, and Celtic listeners. They're going to tune out. But the Bruin fan base is going to join in droves. It's a clique. The hockey players and the hockey fandoms, they're going to, if you start talking hockey, you're going to get great hockey talk. But no one else sticks around to listen to back up your point, right? It's, why does that happen? And it's an actual fact. You can check the ratings. It usually does happen. Now the question is why? Why does it happen? And I don't know. I've never been able to come up with an answer.
See, I'm going to extrapolate something here on all that because I've been trying to figure it out as well. And you're right. If you start talking hockey on any one of the sports shows, you will get the hockey fan who will show up, but everybody else will disappear immediately. They don't want to hang out. When I listen to the NHL Network and some of the shows that are there, and I'm not trying to cast aspersions on the people, personalities, whatever, but it's boring. And I'm a hockey fan, and I'm listening to it.
It's hard to listen. Yes, agree.
Because it's just, they try to dredge up the same stuff over and over again from the past. They talk about the players as if it's a hands-off. The one thing to keep in mind is people who work in the NHL sphere do not want to piss off anybody in the NHL sphere, because the league, remember, has a hand in just about everything, like the NHL Network, all the different broadcasts. They don't want any controversy. They keep it out, don't do it, tamp it down, don't talk about players if there's anything going on. But that's part of the issue. There really is no controversy in the NHL. Ovechkin's playing well. Marchand gets traded on the last in the last couple of weeks of the season. But NHL players aren't caught with guns in their hands.
Nope.
They're not caught with domestic violence on a regular basis, even though there has been a history of it in the past from time to time. They're not caught gambling on their own teams. There's not the pissing back and forth between the players going nuts on X or any of the social media, because the players are all told, stay off it, stop, don't do it, you're going to hurt the organization, And then you're going to hurt the NHL as well. So you don't want to get into that. And the players basically play that game. They keep it all tamped down. So while we can talk about the crap happening in the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball, and all the different controversies that go on, there's no controversy in the NHL. He's playing well, he's doing well, the team's doing well. You're the one who brings up the controversy because you don't want a Canadian team to win. So that's the biggest controversy that you can think about. But there's nothing clickbaitable in the NHL to talk about, and that drives people away. There's always something that'll grab you on clickbait in baseball, basketball, and certainly in football when you go to both the NFL and college football.
Let's go a step further. Not just clickbaitable. In the NFL, and more importantly in the NBA, you can actually see a player's individual talent, and it can be more relatable to most viewers, correct? A player's talent, if you have a basketball player, I can appreciate as someone who picks up a ball in the street. I can appreciate the moves, the individual moves that a basketball player makes. I might play flag football or street football. I could appreciate more so the moves that a Lamar Jackson can make. Not many people can skate, Ed, and you can't relate to the moves that the Sidney Crosbys of the world, or the Alexander Ovechkins, or the Connor McDavids that they can make with their stick by stick handling. You've got no recollection of that. Even if you played street hockey, you've got no recollection. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I remember in gym class in high school, all the hockey players wanted to play, because I went to Mount St. Charles, all the hockey players wanted to play basketball, and all the basketball players wanted to play street hockey. And then one hockey player played street hockey with us, and I'm watching his hands. I'm watching him move the stick. I'm thinking, how the hell do your hands move so fast? I couldn't relate to that. So maybe that's part of the reason for the ratings. The most of the audience can't relate and can't appreciate the skills that these hockey players have.
Which then comes down to the next, and I think you're onto something here, because if you look at the game itself, hockey itself, in a broadcast, it is moving so incredibly fast. The players are changing on a second's notice. You have guys who are out there maybe for 20, 25, 30 seconds on a shift. Bang, they move, they come in, here comes the next guy. There is a constant flow to the point where when you're watching it on television, you're seeing the game move like this. And for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm just going from left to right, and that's what it is. It's a constant motion game to where there's very little focus on the individual players. But in the NBA, it's a much slower game. It's a much more compact game to where you can see what's going on. When you look and NBA players, let's say, come into the offensive zone, and you watch them in the rare time it doesn't take them 6 seconds to pop a three, you can see the entire play developing right there in front of you. You can see what every player is doing, so you can appreciate what every player is doing. In the NFL, again, everything stops and then resets. Stops and then resets. You can see everybody that's there in the game, and there's ISO cameras for the two wide receivers, for the quarterback, for certain players, because they have X number of cameras, a greater number of cameras. Baseball, it is also, everything stops. The only thing you're watching is pitcher, catcher, batter, pitcher, catcher, batter. You don't give a crap what the left fielder is doing at that time, or what the second baseman is doing, but you will see him move when the play happens around him. I think you've got to be a more intelligent fan, a sports fan, to watch hockey than any other sport. And I'll say I think it also goes a little bit to soccer, but more hockey than anything else, because the game is happening so fast, you've really got to pay attention. If you're not paying attention, you're missing what's going on. And I think that sometimes leads to a boredom factor from the casual fan who doesn't want to invest that time. That's a long answer on what you're saying, but it's the only thing that I can see that sets the game apart and why people don't want to pay the time to watch the game other than a well-invested hockey fan.